Hello everyone. Can we continue the chapter Reaching the Age of Adolescence? You have learned that testes and ovaries are the reproductive organs. They produce the gametes, that is, sperms and ova. In girls, breasts begin to develop at puberty, and boys begin to grow facial hair, that is, mustaches and beard. Boys also develop hair on their chest. All these features help to distinguish the male from the female. They are called secondary sexual characters. In both boys and girls, hair grows under the arms and in the region above the thigh or the pubic region. The changes which occur at adolescence are controlled by hormones. Hormones are chemical substances secreted from endocrine glands or endocrine system. These glands will secrete the hormones to the bloodstream. The male hormone or testosterone begins to be released by the testes at the onset of puberty. This causes changes in boys about which you have just learned. For example, the growth of facial hair, the production of male reproductive gametes, etc. Once puberty is reached in girls, the ovaries begin to produce the female hormone or estrogen which make the breast develop. Milk secreting glands or mammary glands develop inside the breast. The production of these hormones is under the control of another hormone secreted from an endocrine gland called pituitary gland. Sex hormones are responsible for the changes occurring during puberty. That means secondary sexual characters. So, which is the female hormone? Estrogen. Estrogen is the female hormone which is present only in female body. And which is the male hormone? Testosterone is the male hormone which is present, which will be produced at the time of puberty. And these hormones are responsible for the secondary sexual characters. And the production of these hormone is under the control of another hormone secreted from a gland called pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is present in our brain. So during adolescent age, pituitary gland will start to secrete a hormone to our blood. That hormone will activate the organ, the reproductive organs, and male reproductive organ will start producing the testosterone and the female reproductive organ will produce the estrogen hormone. And these hormones are responsible for the changes during adolescence or secondary sexual characters. There are two types of glands in our body, exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Exocrine gland we have already learned in digestive system, salivary gland, liver. These are the example for exocrine gland. That means that glands are having a duct. Okay, ducted glands are called exocrine gland. These exocrine glands secretes their secretions. For example, enzymes or hormones through a duct directly to the target organ. So exocrine glands are secreting their secretion through a duct. For example, salivary gland. Salivary gland secretes saliva, that is its production saliva, through a duct which leads to the mouth. The target organ is the mouth. The second type of gland is endocrine gland. There is another name for this endocrine gland. It is ductless gland. There is no duct for these type of glands. Release hormones directly into the bloodstream. So, the blood will circulate the hormone to the target organ. Example for endocrine glands are thyroid gland, pituitary gland, adrenal gland, etc. Pancreas is acting as both endocrine gland and exocrine gland. In digestion chapter you have learned that pancreas will release pancreatic juice which contain enzyme through a duct to the small intestine. So there is a duct to release pancreatic juice. But pancreas will act as a endocrine gland also, because the hormones secreted by pancreas is released directly to the bloodstream. In this chapter, we can learn about endocrine glands, which release hormones directly to the bloodstream to reach a particular body part called target site. So we can understand how the hormones will initiate the reproductive function. The hormones from pituitary gland. We already learned that the production of these sex hormones are under the control of pituitary gland. The pituitary gland will secrete a hormone to the bloodstream. Okay, the target organ for this hormone is the reproductive organ of the organism. Okay, so when the pituitary gland will secrete the hormone to the blood will transport this hormone to the target site, to the reproductive organ. So hormones from the pituitary stimulate the testes. If it is the male body, the hormone will stimulate the testes. If it is the female body, it will stimulate the ovaries to release testosterone in the male body and estrogen in the female body. Okay, first it will activate, the hormones from the pituitary gland will activate the target organ. The next step is endocrine gland release hormones into the bloodstream to reach a particular body part called the target site. So that hormone reach to the particular body part, that is the reproductive organ. So that is the target site. The target site responds to the hormone. The target site is the reproductive organ here, so it will respond to the hormone. So what the third step? It will stimulate changes in the body at the onset of puberty. So the target site or the organ will stimulate, it will activate, and it will release hormones. It will release the sex hormones to the body. That sex hormones are responsible for the secondary sexual characters during puberty. Reproductive phase of life in humans. Reproductive means process of reproduction. Phase means time period. Individuals are capable of reproduction only for some period of time. We understood that adolescents became capable of reproduction when their testes and ovaries begin to produce gametes. But the capacity for maturation and production of gametes lasts for a much longer time in males than in female. In females, the reproductive phase of life begins at puberty. That means 10 to 12 years of age and generally last till the age of approximately 45 to 50 years. One ovum matures and is released by one of the ovary. That means ovulation happens once in about 28 to 30 days. During this time, the wall of the uterus becomes thick so as to receive the egg. In case it is fertilized, you look at this figure, here it is fertilized. The egg is fertilized in the fallopian tube with the sperm. Okay, the next stage is zygote formed. Then the zygote divides and redivides to form embryo. And later you can see that fertilized egg is implanted in the uterus. In the uterus there is thickened lining to receive this egg for the further development. This results in pregnancy. If fertilization does not occur, the released egg and the thickened lining of the uterus along with its blood vessels are shed off. This causes bleeding in women, which is called menstruation. The first menstrual flow begins at puberty and is termed menarche. So menarche is the first menstrual period in girls. At 45 to 50 years of age, the menstrual cycle stops. Stoppage of menstruation is termed menopause. So menarche is the starting of menstrual cycle and menopause is the stoppage of menstrual cycle. Initially the menstrual cycle may be irregular. Okay, it will not be regular in all the month. It takes some time to become regular. How is the sex of the baby determined? How is an individual becomes a boy or a girl? Do you remember these two types of cell? Animal cell and plant cell. Animal body is made up of animal cell and plant body is made up of plant cell. Which are the parts in a cell? The outer cell membrane, then cytoplasm, then nucleus. These are the common parts in this both cell. Nucleus. Something is there in this nucleus which pass from one generation to the another generation, from parents to their children. Every organism is made up of cell. Our body is made up of cell. Inside the fertilized egg or zygote is the instruction for determining the sex of the baby. This instruction is present in the thread-like structure called chromosomes in the fertilized egg. These chromosomes are present inside the nucleus of every cell. All human beings have 23 pairs of chromosomes in the nuclei of their cells. We have 46 chromosomes arranged in 23 pairs in our nucleus of every cell. Out of 23, 22 pairs of chromosomes are called autosomes. These autosomes are controlling our other character other than the sex of the organism, like our height, the color of the skin. These characters are controlled by these autosomes. We have total 22 pairs of autosomes. That means 44 autosomes. The last one pair of chromosome is called sex chromosome. or allosomes. So we have one pair of sex chromosome in our nucleus of every cell. The last one pair of chromosome in our cell is called allosomes or sex chromosomes. Every cell of our body contains 23 chromosomes except the gametes in our body. The gametes contain half of the chromosome. That means 23 chromosomes only present in the gametes of human body. We have total 46 chromosomes in every cell of our body. But the gametes contain half of the chromosome. The last chromosome is called sex of the chromosome. Look at this flow chart. Father and mother, they are the parents. Father's, the last pair of chromosome is mentioned here. Mother's also last pair of chromosome is mentioned. That means sex chromosome only mentioned here in this flow chart. So father contain two types of chromosomes named X and Y. Okay, so father's gamete is the sperm. So sperm contain X or Y. That means half of the chromosome will be there. In mother's gamete, that means egg or ovum contain only one type of chromosome, that is X. Now you look at the children here. When the sperm containing X chromosome is crossed with or fertilized with the mother's gamete, then the child will be female. Then the next chromosome is Y. If the Y chromosome sperm is fusing with the X gamete of the mother, then the child will be male. Now we can use the figure which is given in your textbook. When a sperm containing X chromosome fertilize the egg, the zygote would have two X chromosomes and develop into a female child. If the sperm contribute a Y chromosome to the egg at fertilization, the zygote would develop into a male child. Now you know that the sex chromosome of the father determine the sex of an unborn baby. Father is responsible for the sex of the baby. The belief that the mother is responsible for the sex of her baby is completely wrong, and to blame her for this is totally injustice.